Hello, good evening, everybody. And we are going through our working Wednesday. And as you have seen, I've been covering a few of the practical tips that I've been borrowing from the book by Jordan Adler called Beach Money. And last week we covered quite a bit. And this week we're going to get into the next section, which is mostly covering momentum. So I remember exactly what I covered last week, but it was basically going through the different numbers and what to do and what not to do and how to do it. So we're going to kick off as I share my screen over here. Where to go? Here's everything doesn't always take. Okay, so as I said, we are basically covering the principle of residual money as opposed to linear money. And just to summarize again, linear money is essentially your salary. And we're talking about residual income, which is anytime money, or as Jordan refers to it as beach money. And now we're going to be looking at getting some momentum. As we know, this business often starts off slow. And you get in and you're clueless about what you're doing. Some of us remain clueless for a bit longer than that, but you really are just learning. And once you get going, it's like a snowball. You start off with just a handful of snow. And if you keep rolling it, for those who have experienced snow before, if you keep rolling a tiny little ball of snow, it very quickly becomes quite a very large ball of snow, which can then become your momentum for doing all sorts of other things with it. So you can use that to create buildings, etc. So what is momentum and what does it feel like? I can give you some examples of other types of momentum because I've done some interesting things in my past, like jumping off bridges with strings attached and screaming down mountainsides also attached to strings. And I can tell you that you start off slow and very, very, very quickly that momentum picks up and you gather a rapid rate. So when does this momentum actually start? And can momentum be created or does it just happen? If you are standing at the top of a ridge, do you stand there or does gravity call you towards the bottom? And do you walk at a sedate pace down an incline or does momentum catch up to you as well? And how much luck is involved? We've all heard this story of, oh, look at Charlie, he's so lucky. Look at Louis, he's so lucky. And I was talking about this on LinkedIn yesterday. And as I said, Gary Player, if you remember Gary Player, the golfer, was somebody made a comment the one day to him that, wow, you're so lucky. And he looked at the person who said this and he said, yes. And the more I practice, the luckier I get. So how do big leaders like Charlie do it? Do they mass recruit? They use some secret system or some fancy internet system? Pretty sure Charlie doesn't use internet that much. We all know how well versed Charlie is with any technology. Now, momentum tends to be a buzzword in the network marketing industry. But how does it work? Now, let's assume Charlie has an opportunity meeting and there are 200 people there. Of the 200 people there, 150 are distributors. Of the 50 guests, only 3 were invited by Charlie. Of those 3, only 1 joined. If only 10 joined out of the 50 guests, Charlie would have had 10 signups at his opportunity meeting. But he personally only had 1. And this is where he always talks about the 3 in 30 concept. Now, if there are 100 other meetings being hosted by Charlie's distributors or Charlie's team around the country at the same time, with the same ratio, Charlie would have had over 1,000 new signups that evening. So when you look at the numbers and you see the bigger team members or the older team members going, oh, wow, I signed up 300 people this month. Did they? Or did they sign up 1? And their team signed up the other 299. And this is why Charlie will always tell you the importance of having a big team. And John and Debbie keep telling us the same thing. We need to develop a big team because, and it has to be duplication, because if we are teaching our team to do what we're doing, they are going to also start to get, if we have 100 people simply doing 1 sign up per month, there's 100 new team members. And then they do 1 each, there's another 100. And so it goes. Charlie himself only needs to bring in 3 to 5 people himself each month in order for his team to grow by thousands monthly. And as we know, the Eagle team is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, team structure in Near Life International today. When thousands of people each set out to find only 1 to 2 people monthly, I'll let you do the maths. And it always sounds so simple. Now, to give you just an example of timelines and growth, the amount of time it takes someone to bring another person onto the team does not speed up as the team grows. As more people join a team, as in developing structure, it just appears that growth speeds up. If I have 1 person on my team and it takes them 2 weeks to sponsor someone, then growth appears to be slow. Assuming 18 months from now, I have 1,000 people on my team and 50 of them show the business to a potential downline that month. That's 50 out of 1,000. Each prospect takes 2 weeks on average to join. Over the course of the month, 50 new people join my team. That's nearly 2 per day. But I did very little actual work myself. This is why it's so important for duplication. Although the time it takes for someone to join the business, in this example is 2 weeks, hasn't changed. The sheer numbers make it feel like growth is speeding up. And this is an example that Jordan put together in the book, an example of what momentum looks like in a networking business. Month 1, you bring in 1 to 5 people. Month 2, you bring in 1 to 5 people. No one does anything. You've spent 1,000 Rand and you've earned 300 Rand. Month 3, you bring in 1 to 5 people. 1 person brings in 1, and then doesn't do anything more. And you earn about 100 Rand. Month 4, you're still doing the same thing. You're bringing in 1 to 5 people, but your group adds 3 distributors for the month. And you get your first promotion. And you earn another 200 Rand, but have spent another 500 Rand. And this often is where people start to bail out because they're spending money and they're not making any money, and this thing doesn't work. Month 5, you're still only bringing in 1 to 5 people, but your group adds 10 distributors, and you get your second promotion, and you earn about 500 Rand, but you've spent another 500 Rand. Month 6, same thing, you're 1 to 5 people, your group adds another 10, and this is your first profitable month because you've earned about 700 Rand, but you've only spent about 200 Rand. You are tired and overworked and have lost money overall. You want to quit. The question of whether it's worth it, or you question whether it's worth it. Your friends and family ridicule you for working so hard for so little. Have we been there? Can anybody testify to this? And we're in the 6th month. Month 7, same deal, 1 to 5. Your group is now adding 3 people per week, or per month. You're not sure if this will work. This is the most critical time because 95% of people quit here. I'm very glad I did not quit after 7 months, even though it felt like I should have, because at 7 months, I wasn't doing anything. A few years down the line, I'm still not doing as much as what I know I should be doing. Now, month 8, same deal, 1 to 5. And your group starts adding 1 distributor per day. And you make about 1,500 Rand. Could be a lot more. Month 9, same deal with the 1 to 5. Your group starts adding 2 distributors per day. And you've now added an extra 1,000 Rand on. You're making about 2,500 Rand per month. Month 10, 1 to 5. Your group adds 3 per day. And you're now making 4,000 Rand. We've gone from 1.5 to 2.5 to 4. I'm not a mathematician, but is it starting to look better? Month 11, same deal, 1 to 5. Your group adds 6 distributors per day, and you make 6,500 Rand. I will tell you that in his example, he was using dollar amounts. So if you want to do the multiplication by 18, you're welcome. I'm just rounding it off 2 Rands. Month 12, you do your 1 to 5. Your group is now adding 10 per day, and you're making over 10,000 Rand per month. You have cracked the momentum code because you are focusing on your 1 to 5 people, but you've trained your team to focus on 1 to 5 people. Keep it simple. You know what momentum feels like as you understand the dynamics. You have positioned yourself to earn 30 to 50,000 Rand per month within 2 to 3 years. You will never meet 99% of the people coming into your organization. They don't live in your city. Your business begins to take on a life of its own. Your group adds 200 to 400 new distributors per month. Your residual income grows each month. Are you ready for your dreams to come true yet? The next chapter in this was called Rolodex Marketing. Has anybody ever heard of the author Harvey Mackay? He wrote a book called Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten. And the other book there, he's in fact written quite a few books, but the other book that was quoted here was You Can Predict the Future of Someone's Income by Looking at the Size of Their Rolodex. I will assume that most people on this particular talk tonight know what a Rolodex is. If you talk to a teenager or people in their 20s to 30s, they will probably look at you and go, "Oh, what? They've never heard of a Rolodex before." If you're looking for a job and have a big Rolodex, you could probably land a job fairly quickly. It's almost like a tree of relationships. Therefore, you can say that money does grow on trees. Connected people know other connected people. Have you got a Facebook page? Have you ever looked at that Facebook page and seen how often the suggestions of friends come up? And you've never heard of the person, but suddenly you go, hang on, but I do know this person because I saw them recently, I spoke to them recently, or they're a friend of a friend of a friend. That's your connection coming through. And Facebook has picked that up and made the suggestion. When you invest your time to become well connected, you begin to attract others with connections. My father always used to tell me, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Or you need to know where to find the information. So if you don't know the answer, do you know who to contact who can give you the answer? Within about 2 years, you can set yourself up to never want for anything in business again. Your network will become your most valuable resource. Remember Janet talking on one of her talks at Bloemfontein, where she spoke about having had her handbag snatched the one day. And she said she was devastated, not at the loss of the handbag, not at the loss of her wallet, not at the loss of her phone. She said those were inconveniences, but they were absolutely minor details. She was devastated because in her handbag was her names list. And she lost that. And that was more of a shock to her system than any other things that she could replace. While we don't really have a Rolodex anymore, we do have an electronic contact manager. Your cell phone has a contact department. Your contact manager holds your network and could be worth millions. Your success will be largely determined by the number of contacts in your manager, as well as the quality of your relationships with those people. I've got a lot of names in my address book. I don't know all of them. I do know quite a few of them, and I've got them in various different categories as well, because some of them are from my work, so it's all the medical people, and some of them are from near life, not always in my team, but also because of people being put onto WhatsApp, etc. And others are just people who contact me randomly, and I store their numbers. It's not just who you know, but often more importantly, who knows you. Because think about it, if you need to get a new tire, who do you contact? If you've got a friend who's recently had new tires, you're probably going to contact them and say, who do I speak to? Did you get a good deal on your tires? Think about our business. How many people know that you are a distributor? If somebody says to a contact, listen, you need to have a supplement, who are they going to contact first? You? Or are they going to go down to the local health shop? Or worse, go down to the local supermarket and go and scroll through shelves and shelves of other products that they're absolutely clueless about? Or will they contact you because they know that you, first of all, sell good nutrition products, and that you know those products and know what they can do to help them? So is that person going to contact you? And I find it humbling and fascinating how often I get contacted by somebody who said, a friend of mine said I need to contact you because you've got good products. I don't know them. I've never met them. But a friend of a friend knows me and referred that person. Are you in that situation? And this is where it's so important that who knows you, not just who do you know. You want to make sure that the people in your network who know who you are and what you do. You want them to think of you first when they're ready to do business. Not just, oh, that irritating person who keeps on calling me to come and join up. Or have you given value to them? Are you giving information, valuable information, useful information that people will remember so that they can come back to you? So how do you maximize the use of your contact list? You need to add 1 to 2 people to your contact manager every day. If you do 1 a day, that's 365. You just need to meet them, not sell them anything. As time goes on, you will get to know them and look for ways to help them. And this is something that I want to try, because I must say, I don't add this number of people to my list on a daily basis. I do add probably about 2 or 3 a month, but I don't add 2 or 3 a day like they're suggesting. So we need to maybe look at that. View your contact manager as a way to give back. Look at your manager as a resource for giving, not for getting. Each day, do something positive for at least one member of your list. Give a referral, send a message, call them. Ah, how's it going? I saw you the other day and you mentioned that you had a challenge. How's that going? Have you been able to overcome that challenge? Can I be of assistance to you? Would you like to talk? Just little things. Cold calling is not necessary. I hate cold calling. And that's probably why I'm not still already sitting at a presence team level, because I don't do cold calling. And we shouldn't need to do it. We should be talking to our friends, getting to know our friends in our contacts. Because if they're in our phone, it means that we've probably dealt with them somewhere along the line. We just need to remember when, why, and how. So when you meet someone new, your objective is to get to know them so that you can be a great resource to them. You will also educate them as to what a good referral will be for you by showing them what you do in business. Make notes in the notes section of your contacts list. Keep a log of people's interests, conversations, etc. that you have had with them. Your contact list is a tool that assists you in creating lifelong associations with the people you meet. We've got this tool in our TNL app, but if you take your contacts list, for instance, if I pull up one of my contacts, I have a mobile number, I have an email address, I have a separate ringtone possibly, I have the physical address, I can put in the postal address if it's different. These days, obviously, email is the more important one. I've got their birth date. I've got in this particular one, I've got a social profile in WhatsApp. And in this particular one that I've just pulled up over here, there happened to be one of my team members, an inactive one, but still a team member. I've got their near life ID number. Underneath this, I can send a message. I can share the contact. I can add them to favorites. I can add them to my emergency contacts. I can share my location with them. If I edit this, I can, if I pull up a new contact, for instance, I can have the first name, the last name, the company that they work for. I can add a phone, and there's a mobile phone, a home phone, a work phone, a school phone, a main phone, pager, etc. I can add an email, and there's a home, work, school, other. And I can also add a custom label like Skype, amongst other things. I can change the ringtone, I can change the text tone. I can add a website, their URL. I can add an address, be it home, be it work. I can add a birthday. I can add a date, like an anniversary, or some other related thing. I can add a related name. So maybe their wife, their sister, their brother, their daughter, their son, their aunt, their uncle, whoever. I can add all of those relations if I know them well enough. I can add their social profile. So that would be their Zoom, their Instagram, their Pinterest, their Twitter, their LinkedIn, their Facebook, their Telegram. All of those can be added. I can add an instant message like Skype or Messenger or WhatsApp, or any of those things can be added over there. And then there's a section for notes. So I can add as many notes as I like. And I can add a field. So the prefix, Mr., Mrs., Dr., Professor, whatever, their phonetic first name, the pronunciation of their first name, their middle name, the maiden name, the job title, their nickname, their department, their phonetic company name. All of those are options to add on. And then you just add your list. So we're just going to change all of that. And you can even add a photograph. And I've seen some people who have done that. They've said, hold on a minute, I just need to get your details. So please may I so please may I get all your information? And then they go, hold on a minute, I just want to take your picture. And they take a photograph. Saved. That is the power of these things. Use them. It is an extremely valuable tool. I digress over here. We need to ask the correct questions. Do they know you? Do they know what you do, what you look like, and your interests? People will only do business with the people they remember when they're ready to take action. They must positively associate you with the service you provide. Now, I'll relate back to my job. And I was always taught way back in the early days that doctors have a 6-week memory. And if they don't see you every 6 weeks, they will forget about you. And I've made this a habit in my job. Unfortunately, I haven't made it a habit in my business yet, where I've built a relationship so that when a doctor needs to order something, I'm the first person they think of. If they've got a patient with a problem, they need to think of me first. And I've tried to build relationships with the staff in the hospital because sometimes the doctors will say, this patient needs crutches. They don't say to get from who. And if you've got a strong enough relation or relationship with the staff, they will immediately phone you because you will be on their speed dial. And that's the sort of thing that you need to do in your business. Somebody needs an omega-3 because they've seen an article somewhere about it. Oh, that person, Jenny H., you deal with omegas. Please, can I get some from you? Jenny P. knows a lot about nutrition. I need to contact her because I've been feeling really recently and I've got an upset tummy and I know she's got things that will work. Let me contact her instead of contact my pharmacy. So the other thing is, do these people trust you? Would they call you for service or advice? People generally only do business with people they trust. So by positioning yourself as a trustworthy expert, you are much more likely to get contacts from potential business partners and customers. Do they consider you a friend? People like to do business with friends. Make each person in your contact manager a friend. We're not talking about let's have coffee every day and go and fry with them over a weekend. Just, hi, how's it going? Get to know them. Can they depend on you? Do they know you will be there for them if they need you? Be consistent and dependable. Do what you say you will do and follow through with your commitments. I will call you at 5 o'clock next week, Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday comes and you don't call them at 5 o'clock. And they go, yeah, thought so. But if you've diarized it or made a note or put a memory marker in your phone somewhere along the line to call them at 5 o'clock, you call them at 5 o'clock and say, hey, remember we spoke last week, I said I was going to call you again and we've chatted about X, Y, Z. I'm just following up. This is a work in progress for me as well. So what I'm telling you tonight is not something that I am actively doing at this stage, but I'm learning to do it as well. Most people who get into a business such as ours view each person they meet as a potential sale. If the person doesn't sign up or purchase anything, we forget about them. Successful business owners know that their lifelong association with someone is far bigger than the sale. They know that some people will result in multiple sales over their lifetime, and others may never buy anything at all, but they will refer. Some may refer lots of people to you, and others may just become good friends. Most people today do a terrible job of acknowledging and staying in touch with their network on a regular basis. Be different. We're in a different business. We are different people. Be that difference. I'm going to end it right there because we've got about 5 minutes left. Does anybody have any comments or questions before I stop recording?